Hey guys, so there's a lot of a little while ago there was some interest in seeing a video of my BC3 build. So after the vintage race in North Carolina, I didn't race it, but put it through its paces. So it's going to need a tear down, and I'm going to have to address a couple little things with it. So it's going to be down for a while. So I figured before I tear it down, I'd do a quick video of it to show you guys what's up with it. Alright, I'm going to do this outside because I got a bunch of projects going on, and my workbench is an absolute disaster. So yeah, so here it is. I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen this, but basically the goal was to make this chassis fit underneath the B2, and when it's sitting there basically look like, or like a B3, and basically look like a B3. It's a little hard with the back of the body cut off, but that's going to get addressed with a new one. So I'll just pop the body off. Alright, so this is what we got. So I always thought the TC3 was pretty cool. And I initially was planning on building this using just a stock RC10 front end, and I had a template all done up with the regular RC10 nose plate and everything, and I just happened to get a B2 B3 lot, and it got me thinking, you know, B3 TC3, it'd be kind of a cool mashup. So that's the direction I ended up going. So for those that don't know, it's basically a heavily altered TC3 chassis. I used two chassis to do it. The whole front end is all B3, the nose plate and everything attached to it. And then from basically here back is still the original TC3 chassis. Once I got the shape and was able to get it to fit underneath the B3 body, I sent it to Joe Scavarozzi, and he made up the rear bulkhead. And I talked with Jeff at Factory Works about getting one of his B3 rear towers, but I had him widen the bottom so that it would be able to, or Joe would be able to massage it or manipulate it, whatever he needed to do to mount to the bulkhead that he made. Yeah, and he made the rear A-arms to fit, so that way it was, because I wanted to use the B3 wheels, so he made the arms, and then he made the camber block. Basically those are all the same as the TC3, or positions same as the TC3 hub carriers. And pretty much, I know a lot of guys had questioned the TC3 hub carriers. You're kind of locked into kind of a box with this because the outdrives are really short, and the bones pretty much got to be level with the arms so that there's not a whole lot of plunge in the outdrive. So it kind of is what it is. It makes the ride height kind of suck, but you know, it is what it is. And then while Joe was, I think, well, probably the second time I sent it back down to Joe, I had thought about, you know, since we're going to run off-road with it, it'd be cool to have a slipper on it. So I gave Joe a bunch of B4s. I wanted to use the B3 stuff because I thought it'd be cool to kind of stay with the theme, so to speak, but it just wasn't going to work. So It's a B4, the early B4 setup with the long spring. Joe basically made a new input shaft, or the top shaft, and machined the inner hub to accept a 1/4 by 3 inch bearing, and that rides in the front of the housing to support the shaft. And then we're able to, you know, put a working slipper clutch on it. It works great. It's kind of a pain in the ass to adjust, but yeah, it is what it is. With the top plate was needed because the chassis flex. Without it, it was cracking these seams, and the reason why it needs to come apart is because I was getting a little crazy on the back double, so I had to take it back apart and clean that up. But there's the bottom of the chassis here. You see, it's all just glued. The other chassis that I had, I cut the battery slots out and flipped them upside down and glued them in place to fill the gaps of the TC3 chassis. So yeah, I mean, it works pretty good. The first time I had it out at Pit Stop Hobbies outdoor dirt track, and I ran it in Sportsman just to get some laps on it, or laps with it, and it wasn't too bad. It wasn't great, but oh, here I shave a couple of the fins out to clear the B3 body. It wasn't great. I still had the molded diff in it, the molded outdrives in it, and I don't think it wasn't really allowing the diff to be adjusted properly, which is really tight. So it was almost like having a spool and a thing and a loose dart. It just wasn't happy, so it'd snap around really easy. But you know, it stayed together, and that's really what the first test was. Chassis didn't come. It's never going to break apart because this whole chassis, the main flat part, is all the TC3, so it's not going to fall apart. If anything would happen, it would just be like this. These two side pieces could come off or something, but like that one's doing. But yeah. Sorry, quick phone call I had to take. Electrical question. Yeah, so going back, it's not going to fall apart because this is all the TC3 chassis up to here. I did do the corner pieces that were actually one of the corner braces, like back here. Took that out, and it's glued, but it's screwed up through the top and then down through the top deck. So that's what I was initially using to support the front, but then I just tried flexing the chassis a little bit and it split there. I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna need a top plate. So you can see in there, maybe hard as you can't see that, put the battery back in, but I put a couple standoffs in here, and then there's the mount in the back. It's actually like the bearing cap for the outdrive for the prop shaft. So I sent the chassis out to Jeff again, Factory Works, and I was like, hey, I need a top brace for this. And I drew one up that set of construction paper, and I basically had it stopped to here. But I was like, you know, it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to extend it all the way out to the bulkhead. That way it's completely tied in. So that's what we did. Did a great job doing that, and it rose a little bit. I had to chamfer the edges a little bit for the body to clear, but overall wasn't too bad. Or, you know, fits pretty good. I'll put the body back on and show you on the bottom. Fits on the bottom. Nice and tight. Said you want to notch it out in the back for the body to clear there. So after the first, when I initially put it together after, the initial build of it, I never had it like totally together. I was finding some things that I didn't really like, mainly with the suspension in the back. I was really having to put a lot of limiters inside the shock and then a bunch of up travel limiters on the outside of the shock, and I didn't like that. So after the first run, I was like, I think some GT arm mounts on the bottom would be good. Raise it up a little bit. I'd be able to go back to the 1 or 2 shafts, and I think there's maybe a 16th limiter in the back now, inside, nothing on the outside. So yeah, that worked really well, and I was able to get the arm moved out, or the shock out farther on the arm also. So yeah, so far I'm pretty happy with how it's working. It has tons of steering, plenty of steering. So when I was at the North Carolina race, I was just, messing around with it and letting other guys try it and stuff. And it definitely has a different feel to it. It's not like a regular, even like another mid motor, because it's, I don't know, it's just different. It's like there's still weight there in the back, because the motor and battery are like right in front of the rear suspension. But and it's probably because of the way the motor's positioned in the chassis, it kind of rotates a lot different. So definitely gonna need a little bit of work on the front to try and get some of the steering out of it, but it's a fun car to drive, and it was just really cool to have an idea. And it's taken a while to get there, but help from Joe and Jeff, to be able to build it and get it on a track and run, and it worked pretty well. Chassis, especially with the top deck now, the chassis held up, and so I'm pretty happy. So I don't know if there's going to be any kind of real updates, other than I'm probably going to put like some gussets or something in here to help hold the side in a little bit better next go around. But yeah, that's about it for now.